Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Kyle Clark. Denver Public Schools wants to add a new safety measure at East High School, where there have been several shootings. They would create a vestibule that students and staff would have to pass through once they go in the front door.
9 News reporter Spencer Soisher joins us from outside the school tonight. And Spencer, not everyone is on board with this plan.
Yeah, the school's 150 years old, so the plan has gotten a lot of pushback from some alumni who worry that it could really ruin the entranceway here at East High School that's super beautiful, and it maybe wouldn't do enough to really enhance safety after all. Tonight, Denver Public Schools met with the alumni to try to soothe this all over.
It concerns me that this is even a debate.
Most schools don't look like Denver's East High School.
East is unique in that aspect. Again, a very historical building.
And that's part of the controversy. Denver Public Schools is installing security vestibules at all of its schools. It's not happening all at once, but after a student shot 2 school administrators at East in 2023, the timeline here was moved up.
I think putting in a wall and blowing out walls or drilling into the marble certainly is a concern, but it's secondary to is this really making the school safer? And I just don't think the answer is yes.
Some parents and alumni are not on board with the plan. They think it actually wouldn't make East more secure. The school has entrances all over the building and low windows on ground floors too.
There's 22 entrances. Those entrances aren't being addressed. And we need a comprehensive safety plan. And building a vestibule is not it.
After concerns from the East community, DPS pushed the vestibule installation back to next summer.
When the school was built, the threat of our time today didn't exist.
John McDonald is a school security expert. He says vestibules like this have become the standard at schools across the country.
Today, 21st century students need 21st century safety. 76% of all school shooters walk in your front doors.
DPS says the vestibule is going in, but these East alumni hope the district will at least hear them out.
I think there's a little fluidity to this work. That's kind of why we're here. We are asking for feedback.
Opponents of the project argued that the vestibule wouldn't have done anything to stop the shooting of the 2 administrators here at East High School a couple of years ago. The safety vestibules cost about $800,000. That would be paid for with bond money from something that Denver voters approved back in November. Live in Denver, Spencer Soisher, 9 News.
2 people went to the hospital tonight after a shooting in Aurora. It happened about 7:15 on Ursula Street, west of 225 and south of I-70. Police say both victims are young men. One of them has life-threatening injuries. The other is expected to survive. At this point, no one's been arrested.
Well, we need to soak up this beautiful weather while we can, because the chance for storms returns this holiday weekend. And when the guy in the news says returns this holiday weekend, Kathy, what are we talking about? Like 1 appearance, 2 appearances? 3 appearances?
Yeah.
That's
barbecue.
the whole weekend.
Well, it's all about timing. And so that's what I'm going to help you with, because it's not going to be an entire rain out. There won't be storms for 24 hours out of each day, but you have to plan for the weather that will be coming, which is really typical for this time of year. So the break is just so wonderful. Enjoy it. Sunshine, mid-70s today, only isolated showers out across the far eastern plains. Temperatures really comfortable today and still tonight, 50s and 60s along the Front Range. The wind has been a real pain in the neck this week. It's still pretty gusty over the northern Front Range foothills and even over the North Metro area out onto the eastern plains and east to northeast flow to about 25 and 30 miles per hour. The heavier thunderstorms are in the Midwest. As these light showers track into Nebraska and Kansas, we've had some reports of hail outside of the Colorado border. So a few gentle showers, a little thunder and lightning around Eads, Lamar, and Springfield tonight. But severe weather threat is south and east of us for now. Not expecting much in the way of cloud cover tonight. Should wake up to a mostly sunny day, and temperatures will be even warmer tomorrow than what we enjoyed today. But there are thunderstorms back in the holiday weekend forecast, and coming up we'll have the timing and impact and those windows for you for outdoor activities.
We're tracking breaking news tonight out of Washington, D.C. 2 staff members from the Israeli embassy were shot and killed tonight in Washington outside the Capitol Jewish Museum. NBC News reports that a man opened fire, hitting a man and a woman, and that shooter shouted "Free Palestine" as he was being taken into custody. This has all happened within the last hour or so, so we will keep you updated with new details on that shooting in Washington.
A Republican-led spending package that would cut Medicaid to fund tax cuts is headed to the House floor. It passed a key committee vote within the last half hour. After nearly 22 hours of proceedings, the House Rules Committee voted to advance President Trump's legislative agenda. The package still faces a significant test. House Speaker Mike Johnson can only afford to lose 3 Republican votes if all Democrats oppose the bill as expected.
A Coloradan is one of more than a dozen researchers now suing the National Institutes of Health. They're pushing the largest source of funding for medical research in the world to make good on its pledges, despite President Trump's push for funding cuts. These scientists, who all study LGBTQ issues, argue that the grant's cancellations are discriminatory and unconstitutional. CU Colorado Springs researcher Dr. Heather Littleton was halfway through a 3-year clinical trial when her funding was cut short. She worries about the ripple effects within the community.
Not only does this research being canceled, affect, what we find as a science, but, even if these grants get restored, we will have to rebuild trust with these populations. And in fact, even before our grant was canceled, we were having difficulties recruiting people because people were worried about being in this type of work right now.
Littleton and those other researchers are asking a federal court to reinstate their grants and allow that research to resume.
A man is now charged in a hit-and-run crash in Boulder County over the weekend that killed someone on a bike. Colorado State Patrol says 23-year-old Dante Johnson drove into a bike lane and hit John Wilkinson Sunday morning and then took off. It happened along 95th Street, about 8 miles east of Boulder. Wilkinson was 41 years old. His friends and colleagues in the cycling community are struggling to come to terms with what happened.
He was just riding his bike, just like any of us do, on a safe road. In the middle of the day on a Sunday, the busiest time for cyclists to be out. And it still just boggles my mind that happened. John was a very kind and sincere soul, and he did not deserve this by any means. No one does.
This crash happened in Boulder County. Deputies in Douglas County arrested Dante Johnson on Monday on an unrelated warrant. He now faces more charges related to Sunday's crash.
El Paso County has paid $2.5 million to settle a lawsuit over a man's death at their jail. That's according to attorneys for his family. 48-year-old Crystal Kinnett died April of 2022. His family's attorneys say he had been seeking help at an ER for severe stomach pain when he was arrested. A lawsuit says a nurse from WellPath, healthcare company for the jail, allowed him to be put in general population cell despite his medical condition. He was found dead, internal bleeding from an ulcer, about a day later. We reached out to El Paso County for comment on this. We're still waiting to hear back.
Tonight, Aurora police are looking for a man they say attacked a woman on the Highline Canal Trail. Police say this happened nearly 2 weeks ago near Expo Park.
9 News reporter Janelle Finch joins us now from APD to run us through what investigators are saying. Janelle?
Aurora police say investigators are using witness testimony and surveillance video to track down this man. But after 2 weeks, they say they've exhausted all of their leads and now need the community's help. A place of peace, Aurora PD investigators say, brought one woman pain. It happened on Highline Canal Trail around 6:30 a.m. on May 8th.
The female was walking along a trail in the early morning hours. While she was walking, the female was approached by an unknown male. That male subsequently attacked the female, resulting in severe injury to the female.
Seth Robertson is an investigations lieutenant with APD. He says due to the active investigation, he couldn't say how the woman was hurt, just that her injuries were severe.
The female did receive medical assistance afterwards.
Robertson gave credit to the woman for what she did afterward, alerting others on the trail and calling police.
Within that story was her description of the suspect, and that description led us to search for surveillance videos that led us to the picture that we are releasing.
Aurora police say they're now looking for this man captured on surveillance video near the park.
All we are doing is asking for the community help and identifying this person.
Investigators say in the weeks since, there haven't been any additional reports of assault or victims to come forward. But Robertson says Aurora police will work to keep places of peace safe.
We want people to go out and we want people to enjoy the activities of the community that they live in.
Another woman was also assaulted on the Highline Canal Trail in Littleton back in March. Police don't believe the two attacks are related, but if you do recognize the man in that video or know anything that could help police, you're asked to call them. Live in Aurora, Janelle Finch, 9 News.